Hi, my name is Aileen Dillane. I'm an ethnomusicologist and I work in the Irish World Academy of Music and Dance at the University of Limerick. So, is music intrinsically good? When people ask me what I do and I tell them I'm a lecturer in music, invariably I seem to get the response, "Oh, that's lovely, and what a great job, and it must be wonderful to play music all day." Now, notwithstanding the fact that perhaps they don't fully appreciate the varied work of an academic, I find the answer really interesting in and of itself. Why do people think music is intrinsically good? Let's think about it. I mean, to make music, to create music, these are really positive things. But suppose you listen to music. That's positive too. I mean, you can listen to music because it comforts you, it gives you solace, or maybe you listen to it because it makes you joyous and full of energy. So these are all really good reasons for thinking why music is intrinsically good. But I think we have to uncover it, unpack it a little bit more. Really, it comes down to thinking about the term music in the singular. And when you do that, you realize that, well, at least in the West, this is something that is very much imbued with Enlightenment and European values. We think of classical music, Western art music. Think of somebody like Beethoven, okay, who has written wonderful symphonies, and somebody who's been treated as a hero because at the time he was writing the Ninth Symphony, say, for example, he was deaf. And yet he had this pinnacle of human achievement by writing this great symphony at a time of revolution in Europe. So a lot of people think about that music as being somehow the pinnacle of humanity, something that really expresses how great humanity can be. And of course, to listen to that music, you're not moving to it, you're not in a concert hall clapping, you're interiorizing it, you're thinking about it, and you're dwelling on the sublime, the beautiful. And so that's one of the reasons why people think, well, music is inherently good, philosophically, intellectually, aesthetically. And all these kinds of ideas, these are the kinds of ideas that theoreticians and reception history people like Theodor Adorno from the Frankfurt School of Social Theory and Philosophy would talk about. And I get that actually. I've sung Beethoven, I've listened to Beethoven, I've been schooled in that tradition. So I understand all of these arguments. But there's an inherent flaw in thinking of music in the singular. I mean, there are musics from all over the world. In fact, many musics don't even have a separate word for music. And there are plenty of high art traditions as well. You have, for example, Hindustani classical music in North India, or Gagaku Japanese court imperial music from Japan. And these are high art traditions. They've got their own sounds, they've got their own context, their own functions, their own ways of being in the world. But there are lots of other musics too. Some people term them as low musics. Folk music, traditional music, certain forms of ritual music, even popular musics. So we've got this whole plethora of musics that are out there in the world. Are all of those trying to be intrinsically good in sound or in function? Is that what it comes down to? Let's think about the traditional music or the folk music. Often cases these musics are used to consolidate identity, to help people understand what ethnic group they're from. Ritual musics might be used, for example, to mark really key occasions in the life cycle. And religious musics, of course, help believers come closer to their God. The Sufis would say, to sing is to pray twice. So again, all of these things seem intrinsically good. But is that because of their function and not of their sound? Let's go back to Western Enlightened thought again, back to people like Plato and Aristotle in the Greek times. They actually talked about music being bad, that there were certain pitches, intervals, modes in music that if you played them, it did something to your moral fibre. Now that might seem like a really strange idea, but actually persists today. Let's think about death metal, or people like Marilyn Manson, or goths, right? So people say they listen to that music, ergo it's causal for the kid who in high school goes and shoots his fellow students. Whereas other people will say, well, that's ridiculous. It's just a music that allows people to find themselves, to express who they are. It's good music, it's bad music. Which is it? It's a tricky question. For me, I think it's a question of porosity. Music is porous. It really depends who's using it and where. All musics, ultimately, are of their time and of their place. They're ideologically underpinned, and their function, really, all of these things inform whether we think they are good or bad. I'll give you one example. I'm at a wedding. I'm listening to a Britney Spears song and I'm dancing with my family. It's a really happy occasion. Yet the exact same song can and has been used as part of sonic torture in Guantanamo Bay. It's the same song, it's a radically different experience. good music or bad music. Let me look at the reverse. You could absolutely love a Wagnerian aria, a beautiful operatic song that just moves your soul. And then you find out that, well, Wagner actually was operational in the Third Reich, and he was virulently anti-Semitic. Suddenly, is that beautiful sublime aria good or bad anymore? What does it come down to? Surely it comes down to context, to usage, to your own value systems, who you are and where you come from. That's probably what it's all about. So just remember, if you're thinking about what's a good music and what's a bad music, making those value judgments, not just inherently with the music sound itself, but with the social context, consider that an anarchic punk song could be far better, could offer far more good to the world in its critique than a beautiful aria that has been put into the service of racism or any form of social exclusion. Now, if you're interested in these kinds of ideas, come study with us in the Irish World Academy of Music and Dance at the University of Limerick. We want to hear about your opinions on these matters. My name is Aileen Dillane. Thank you.